Hello, my name is Joseph Tripp. I would like to start by reading a quote that was inscribed on a brother Marine's grave in Guadalcanal in 1942. It states, "And when he gets to heaven, to St. Peter he will tell, 'One more Marine reporting, sir, I've served my time in hell.'" The purpose of this speech is to discuss post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, as a treatable mental health concern among combat veterans. Addressing evidence-based methods reduce stigma can move us towards successful treatment outcomes. I am speaking on behalf of my brothers and sisters in the armed forces. I know what it's like to return home and feel like I no longer fit into the family or the community that I left when I volunteered to serve my country. I could not speak about the things that haunted me. Much of my days and nights, first, some of them were unspeakable. Secondly, they belonged to the military. However, with the right resources and support, I am living a strong, productive life, and it is my hope that I can pay it forward to many wounded warriors that will still walk among us. Post-traumatic stress disorder is an anxiety disorder that involves the development of adverse reactions following a traumatic and threatening event, a psychological experience that can result in degrees of debilitating physical, emotional, and social symptoms. Most of you have a father or a mother or a brother or a sister that served in the armed forces. Maybe you have a cousin, an aunt, or an uncle, or a neighbor or coworker that served. In one way or another, we have all been touched by the brave men and women that have served to keep us free. Let me tell you about the enemy that we face here at home. Too many combat veterans survive the horrors of war only to return home and die at the hands of a silent but lethal killer. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Despite advancements in the treatment for the illness, many combat veterans resist from seeking treatment and even avoid acknowledging the symptoms of its presence. Stigma has been verbalized by combat veterans as the biggest deterrent of mental health care-seeking behaviors. Symptoms of PTSD may include anxiety, irritability, and the difficulty in getting along with others, jumpiness, or an intense startle response, inability to concentrate or work productively, sexual dysfunction, sleep disturbances, flashbacks, or reliving the dramatic events. Studies have shown that no more than 40% of soldiers with mental health problems utilize mental health services. As few as 50% seek the intervention following a clinical referral. Many active duty service members will not admit to such a problem for fear of being perceived as weak or unfit for duty. For a career-minded military man or woman, a diagnosis of PTSD can be very threatening. Stigma has been verbalized by combat veterans as the biggest deterrent of mental health care-seeking behaviors. There are 3 types of stigma in this area. Public stigma, which involves the awareness of significant PTSD symptoms or a formal diagnosis of PTSD. Self-stigma, the individual experiences cues that inflict negative beliefs or stereotypes based on perceived knowledge of the stigmatizing events. And then third, there is label avoidance. Stigma occurs when people who are prejudiced endorse the negative stereotypes and generate negative emotional reactions as a result. Few studies are available that link trends in utilization of mental health services and stigma among the high-risk group. Research on media's role and impact on stigmatizing combat veterans with PTSD is limited and or outdated. As we have learned, when the stigma of PTSD in combat veterans is reduced, the invisible wounds carried by our service members can begin to heal. If left untreated, our families and our communities will suffer with them. In closing, I'd like to show you a couple pictures. You can see that. All things of the PTSD. Suffering PTSD, you are not alone. I'm going to read you a quote. It was written by Rudyard Kipling, written in the 19th century, but still very true today. God and the soldier all men adore, in times of danger, not before. The danger past and the wrong righted. God is forgotten, the old soldier slighted. Please help make a difference. And again, thank you.